From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LALATE with incredible great news for your fourth stimulus check update of 2022, as not one, not two, but three major checks have landed this April 11th, 2022. We'll go over those big checks. Have you gotten them? They're the biggest payout we've seen of a generation, and they are law. Those three checks are A, B, and C. A $6,500 stimulus check, a $15,000 to $80,000 stimulus check, and a $24,000 MSC check, where many viewers are getting upwards of $150,000. We'll go over all those big checks across this 1 hour broadcast. Get your pen and paper ready, because over this 1 hour broadcast, we'll be going over third stimulus, fourth stimulus, fifth, sixth, and seventh, all happening at the same time. We'll start with Build Back Better Act. A lot of major breaking developing details today, as one analyst says that we may be in a war session where the economic data is different than a normal recession. What does it mean by Build Back Better Act? It's good news. All the latest details on that front. Then we'll be looking at what's going on with Jay Powell and that Federal Reserve for April 11th. We have new 10-year Treasury note details today. As the top's 2.76%, this is a big jump, and the 5 and 30-year rates are now inverted. Plus, while the latest details coming out of China, and this could signal where our economy is going. Their CPI and PPI number released minutes ago. Then we'll be looking at the big developing details of sixth stimulus. It was the battle recession caused by Vladimir Putin, but we have a lot of major developing details and news today on this front for April 11th. The PPI number and CPI number out of China, a major beat. What does this mean for you? It means that the cost to do business, the cost to buy products, is going higher faster. And then, do we have good news on the oil front? We have big news on the oil front as the price of Brent crude dropped dramatically. Why today's recording to $98 a barrel. Wow. And the West Texas number dropping as well, $93 a barrel. But is that good news, or is that caused by China's potential lockdown? Could our lockdown be next? Well, the latest details on what's happening with commodities. And then we'll be turning to seven stimulus and student loan debt forgiveness and a little bit about crypto. It's a big broadcast from the shores of Santa Monica, California. We're just getting started. Over the next 1 hour broadcast, we'll be going over no less than 8 developing breaking news stories today and 5 different stimulus packages happening all at the same time. But there's no bacon. But there's still no bacon. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing. The sugar-free Brussels sprouts cake is in the oven, as Bob Bacon said. But everything else is good except the bacon's missing. Well, we can try for that under the 8th stimulus package. Reoccurring monthly bacon doses for your host. The great details, the great money, the breaking, developing details heat up right now for the shores of Santa Monica, California. It's a live broadcast for Mornings LALATE. Are you ready? I'm ready. Let's get to the deliciousness, let's get to the big money, and let's get to the breaking news for April 11th, 2022. This, my friends, is a big Mornings LALATE. And good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day here along the coast for April 11th, 2022. We have a 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th stimulus check update in today's recording. Plus, we'll be going over those big checks. Have you got to them? They're landing, and I'm going to show you how to get them. Huge checks. A $6,500 stimulus check, a $15,000 to $80,000 stimulus check, and an MSC. Have you become a member? Make sure you become a member to get those big checks that are coming up later in this recording. Meantime, we're going to get a preview of tonight's Evenings LALATE, America's most watched show for financial news in prime time. Get your pen and paper ready, because over the next 1 hour broadcast, we're going to go over a lot of breaking financial news. We're going to go over a lot of stimulus checks, stimulus packages, and more. And it's all breaking today for April 11th, 2022. Starting front and center is the Build Back Better Act. The Build Back Better Act currently in the Senate. It's a bill that pays you a lot of money, and we have breaking news on its front as well. How much money does the Build Back Better Act pay? It pays at least $15,000, but upwards of $80,000 of checks across 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Let's look at them right now. Hazard Pay got in there 1 more year, the Earned Income Tax Credit. $4,000 to Elder Care. $3,600 for the CTC, 1 more year. The Pell Grant for college students, $550 check. The check for nutrition. The check for home repairs, to make repairs to your home if you live in a low-income community, and more. How to get these big checks? Tune in to Evening Daylight tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We'll go over each of these checks in detail. The first add-on check is a little bit less than $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. Wow. Put in there via Maxine Waters. It will be given to you at the time of purchase of that first home. How do you get it? Tune in tonight on Evening Daylight. In that second cluster, we have a lot of checks. Paid leave, $4,000 to $6,000 a year, and home repairs to weatherize your home. Hold up. Hold the pens. Put them up, folks, right now. There is a surprise there. That check is now law. Oh, baby. The President of the United States took the home repairs to weatherize your home out of Build Back Better Act and made it law. It is the first, that A stimulus check, that is coming up later in this video. Oh, boy. And that's not the only check he took out of Build Back Better. We're going to go over all these incredible checks in just a second. But yes, that is check A. That check A, here it is, baby, is $6,500 made law by Joe Biden. Also, check B, supposed to be under Build Back Better Act. He took it out. A $15,000 to $80,000 check. Have you gotten it? I'm going to show you how to get it. Make sure you become a member. It's coming up in just a second. Let's go back into where we left off at Build Back Better Act. In Build Back Better Act, this second cluster has also the paid leave. That's $4,000 to $6,000 a year. Now let's look at that second add-on of checks, $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities. Let's look at that third check across the board. That third check is the seniors and the free internet for all checks, farmers checks, independent contractors checks, and also the lots of checks for seniors. How do you get these checks? Tune in tonight on Evenings LA. We'll go over each of these checks in detail. But the seniors doing really well in Build Back Better Act. Let's look at their checks. They're getting in their dental checks, vision checks, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare checks, and more, which is par for the course when we're talking about adding checks to the Build Back Better Act. The other checks that they represent, they would add in there, of course, are MSC, monthly IRS stimulus check. Let's go over those MSC checks right now. Those MSC checks would be incredible. They would arrive the same as a third stimulus check. Let's recap who got the third and who would get the fourth. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Family of 4, quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or railroad benefits, you get it as well. $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and that is MSC. We'll be going over more about that check later in this recording. But here's what you need to know is when you're looking at that third stimulus versus fourth stimulus MSC check, you got to do a reality check, folks, here. When you're looking at the checks, you got to do a reality check. Why? Because the IRS MSC check is this small, and the third stimulus MSC check is this big. The first stimulus MSC check is 6 months, $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter. They represent they're going to do. That totals $7,000. The third stimulus check is $45,000 on average, $2,000 a month for 12 months to start. It's this big. So which one would you like? $21,000, $45,000, or $7,000? I think you want the third stimulus. That is check C. And how do you get that check C? It's coming up in just a second. That check C is now law, and it's huge. You don't have to wait around for anything. That's how we pounce as a Purple Hawk. Get your pen and paper ready because that check C is coming up later in this video. Let's look at that check C again. Averaging $24,000, but many viewers are getting upwards of $45,000. Wow. Now let's go over to what else is happening in the landscape of SS 300 and also Build Back Better Act. We have a lot of breaking news today across the front. First, we have breaking news on the Build Back Better Act. A new analyst report says we may be in a war session, not recession. In a recession, you normally have costs going down and inflation going down. But new analyst days today says that we may be in a war session. David Roche, market analyst at a major company, says that because we see inflation still going higher And because we still see costs going up, we may be in an environment caused by a war that looks unlike any recession before. More about that tonight on News LA. Then when we look at that SS300, we have a lot of breaking news on that front today. Remember, SS300 is to swamp your COLA for inflation. Raises your benefits up $200 more per month right now if inflation is 8% and Joe makes that phone call to the Social Security Administrator head, swapping that COLA for inflation. Not just $200 a month right now, not just this year, but a lifetime, because once you make that swap, your benefits are locked in. But then there's that other guy, and his name is Jay Powell. His job is to reduce inflation by how he says raising interest rates. Well, let's understand how Jay Powell's analogy and his approach to the situation has changed so dramatically in 30 days. First, he said he's going to do a quarter basis point every FOMC meeting indefinitely. That's okay. And then just days later, he said, well, maybe do a half basis point. Okay, Jay, that's a little more aggressive. They said, maybe I'll go to do two meetings of half basis point. Okay, getting a little too aggressive there, Jay. And then he says, maybe we'll just do a whole year of half basis point. Excuse me, Jay. That is where it's getting a little bit dicey because it's changing by the hour. The brand new details for April 11, 2022 today is that analysts are now saying what I've been saying for nearly a month. Jay Powell does not have the tools to bring down inflation. And what he's going to do, he's going to send you in a recession. He's going to raise those interest rates and not solve inflation because guess what? Inflation is being caused currently because of supply chain. Supply chain is getting that product from, let's say, China to the port of Los Angeles to then the truck that's landing in Kansas. That supply chain issue is getting worse today, April 11th. Number one, China will likely give us the biggest economic news story after Putin of this year in the next 30 days. What is it? A potential massive lockdown because of Omicron's subvariant. Ouch. Yes. So another Chinese city, this one is the southern city of Guangzhou, has now announced major lockdown provisions or tightening of COVID restrictions because of raging out of control cases. For example, in Shanghai, Saturday reported 1,000 new cases, and that's after 24,000 asymptomatic ones were reported consecutively. Consumer confidence dropping dramatically in China, where Morgan Stanley reports that 31% of all Chinese people believe they will not be able to make their rent this month. Wow. This is at the 10-year Treasury note tops 2.76% right today. Out of control. It was 1.8% just a few weeks ago, 2.76%, and the 10 and the 5 and 30-year rates remain inverted. That means recession. We're going to have the consumer price index number released on Tuesday and the producer price index number released on Wednesday. What does this mean for your SS300 and what does this mean for Build Back Better Act? This means the following, that the supply chain disruption being caused out of China because you can't get a sofa out of China to land on the port of Los Angeles to be shipped to Kansas will cause the prices in the United States to continue to surge out of control higher. That's inflation. And that by raising interest rates, Jay Powell will not solve that because he has nothing to do with supply chain. The Federal Reserve cannot do anything to fix supply chain. And that's what you're going to get out of Jay Powell. Lots of raising interest rates and no solution to inflation. That will curb economic growth in the United States, and it already has. That is good news for Build Back Better, because guess what? Build Back Better Act has all the support now of economic data released over the last 7 days featured on this channel. Data after data was a miss. What's a miss? If we're looking at a 7% growth rate of GDP in the U.S. economy, and we get 6.9% actually coming in, it's a miss. It was weaker. A beat would be 8%. That's what happened last week. Data after data, economic data after economic data released all last week was major misses. Good news for Build Back Better Act, because if we have all those misses, that supports doing Build Back Better. The only economic data that came in that was strong last week was the unemployment numbers on Thursday. The lowest number of new unemployment claims, 166,000 we've seen since the 1960s. And the number of continuing unemployment claims, great number we've seen in nearly a handful of years. 1.78 million unemployed people long-term compared to 17.8 million the year before. The takeaway, number one, that Jay Powell is likely to get it wrong. He's likely to raise those interest rates too aggressively, send you into recession or war session, and then not solve inflation whatsoever. Meantime, Build Back Better Act. A lot of analysts believe it's going to go to a vote this month. Good news on that front, because guess what? The economic data is getting weaker, and that's before Omicron subvariant cases could potentially surge in the United States, sending tightening restrictions domestically as well. And we're just getting started on this recording. I told you there's a lot happening. Get your pen and paper ready, because in the second half of this recording, we're going to go over some big checks. Their law, their money, they are landing in your hands, and you can get them right today. Do you like money? Do you like money with lots of zeros? I bet you do. Well, that's what I got for you, because that's what I do best on this channel. Check A, check B, and check C. A $6,500 stimulus check. You ready to get it? It's coming up at the commercial break. Then a $15,000 to $80,000 stimulus check coming up after the commercial break. Ready to get it? I'm ready to deliver you the news. And then an MSC check, huge. Many viewers tracking an average of $45,000 for these MSC checks. Some viewers gain over $150,000. It's coming up in the second half of this video. But first, if you haven't become a member, get that membership signed up today. Go to the top of the chat, go to the pinned comment, go to the description. Become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or the highest level of membership benefits at Casino VIP, and get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Get that newsletter delivered to you because it has all the information about how to get these 3 checks. Then in the second half of this video, we got a lot of other economic data coming up and a lot of other breaking news as well. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over what's going on with 6 stimulus. Macron did not win his re-election bid convincingly overnight. So what does that mean for 6 stimulus? I'll have the latest details breaking on morning. Then we have new data about PPI and CPI out of China overnight. Was it good news or bad news? All the latest and why it impacts your wallet at home. On the oil front, it's part of 6 stimulus. Does the oil numbers today signal big surprising progress to get the price of gasoline down, or was it caused by something not involved with the White House? Major twist on that oil front today as the price of Brent crude dropping dramatically under $100 a barrel. I'll have the latest details on that front. Then we'll be looking at the commodities. We'll be looking at 7 stimulus, and then we'll have my analysis on the big front of where we go thereafter. It's a big broadcast. We're just getting started. For the shores of Santa Monica, California, it's Mornings LA live on air. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing. Become a member. I'll see you back in 60 seconds. From the shores of California, Mornings Alive continues, back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues on a big morning's broadcast live from the shores of Santa Monica, California for April 11th, 2022. How's the weather where you are? Jump in the live chat and tell me where the weather is where you are tuning in today live on it. Welcome Doris to the family. She became a member during the commercial break. If you haven't become a member, go into the video's description or at the top of the chat. Become a member today. Incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. In the second half, we have so much going on. We have the latest details on what's unfolding about 6 stimulus. Huge developing details on the oil, the commodities, and the Russian front. and also those election results for Macron. Then we'll be looking at 7 stimulus, student loan debt forgiveness, the latest details on that. Fifth stimulus, the forgiveness of the fifth stimulus, the big solution for SSI and SSDI beneficiaries. And then we'll be looking at my analysis of where we're going thereafter. But first, we're going to start with those big checks. Are you ready? Get your pen and paper ready. Here we rock and roll. 3 checks have become law. They are law, and they are incredible. Those 3 stimulus checks are A, B, and C right in front of you on the graphic right now. A $6,500 stimulus check has now landed. March 31st, 2022, it became law. The President of the United States saw it in the Build Back Better Act, took it out, and made a law by executive order. Thank goodness. Then a $15,000 to $80,000 stimulus check, now law as well. President took out Build Back Better Act March 4th. Finally, an MSC check. Wow, $24,000. $2,000 a month for 12 months. Many viewers getting upwards of $45,000. Some viewers getting over $150,000. Made a law in early 2021. So get ready with your pen and paper to take notes. We can get over all these incredible checks, starting with the first one right now. Check A. A $6,500 check became a law just a few days ago. Where is it? It's a 4th stimulus check. It is law. The checks have landed. The eligibility, let's go over the details right now. First, the income. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Same as a 3rd stimulus check. One is the $6,500 check called. It's called the Home Weatherizing Grant Check. And in some states, they pay upwards of $12,000. If you're on benefits, can you get it? Absolutely. If you are a senior or person on veterans benefits and you own your own home, you can get it. This is called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. So how do you get this check? You become a member. Then look for that newsletter Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, delivered via the YouTube alert system. Go right into that membership newsletter. First few lines are about the price of oil today, and right under there is Check A. Check A will give you the description more about this Home Weatherizing Grant Check, and then I'll send you a link. It'll have a feature link in the newsletter. You click the link, it'll go right into the national website. Then you choose your state, like Alabama. Then choose the Alabama Weatherizing Grant Check. Click the link, and then you can go in and apply. And there you rock and roll. Huge details across the board. That is Check A, law, paying out, and it is incredible. Let's look at Check B. That looks like Check A lot, but it's slightly different. First, it's a lot more money, $15,000 to $80,000. Second, it became a law weeks before Check A. So let's go over the details of it right now. First, $15,000 to $80,000, huge. Eligibility, same as Check A. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you can get it. And if you're on benefits, you can get it as well. Veterans, seniors who own their home, you can get it. This check is called the Homeowners Grant Check. It's detailed in the membership newsletter right under Check A. Why is it more money? Because it covers a lot of other items like home repairs. Don't you want it? You do. So when you look at the newsletter, you look at this check, you see the description, and then there's a new link for that. That different link sends you into the website application for Check B. You go in there, you choose your state off a map, like Tennessee. Click the link, and then when you're in the Tennessee website, then you apply. Don't wait. Don't think too much about it. Don't think about whether you are in the right this or the right that. You want to look at the eligibility. If you qualify, then apply. Huge details across the board. Let's go back to A, B, and C. If you're a homeowner, you can get Check A, B, and C. And if you're a renter, you can get Check C. So here come my renters. Get ready for these MSC checks. Huge details starting right now. These MSC checks are $24,000 to $45,000 on average, but many viewers have gotten to $150,000. More about that in a second. When did this become a law? Last year. 3rd stimulus. They're going out. They are automatic once you get approved. They're incredible. Joe Biden made them law. The average viewer in recent days have gotten $2,000 a month for 12 months. Joe Biden has made these automatic checks law. How do you get them? This is different than A and B, where you're going to a website. In this one, you want to rely on that newsletter and then pick up the phone and call, because these checks involve using the telephone, not a website. So who are you going to call and what are you going to say? Let's go over the details right now. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, and your county housing authority. There's also 2 other places, your state hall and your state housing authority. And the key words you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Now, hold up right there. If you're a member, you're going to see in the membership newsletter, you get more than just those 6 places to reach out to. Yes, you can get another half dozen places. Oh, boy. So that'll give you a lot more opportunity to get a lot more money. When you make that phone call, you don't say MSC, you don't say stimulus check, you don't say lobster shorts or sugar-free Brussels sprouts cake recipe, says Bob Bacon. You just say rent assistance because of COVID. Mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. 3 things you must do. You must get all applications on file as everywhere you can. At least 6 places, but more if you become a member. And then get these months as far as you can get them. Rely on those nonprofits. First, become a member, because why? In that membership newsletter, you will get other places who are nonprofits to get money from. So you won't have just 6 places to reach out to. You'll have over a dozen and a half. The more places, the more money. Rely on those nonprofits. They are huge. Get those big sums of money across the board. And then I want you to pounce. Because these monies are available right today. The average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000. Why would you wait to get these sums of money? Get them right today. Viewers have been getting these sums of money on this channel for a while. And the success stories are actually a lot more than $2,000 a month over 12 months. A lot more than $24,000. Let's look at the rent numbers. Here are the rent numbers that viewers have gotten from these MSC checks. $27,000 for Elizabeth, $25,000 for Mark. Numbers continue to grow across the board, and we weren't just done there yet. The numbers on these MSC checks continue to grow. Let's look at some more. Here we go. Utilities. Wow. The utilities for Nancy are alone more than the Build Back Better Act's stimulus checks. Look at that, $7,000. Here are the numbers for SNAP. Here are the numbers for Combo, $32,000. Here are the numbers for Combo that Mark got. $50,000. He's over $100,000 right now. Lorraine, she's at 105. Now she's at 120. So where do you get this? You become a member. Go right under the video or at the top of the description, at the top of the chat, and click the member link and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, sent via the YouTube alert system. And then pounce. You don't want to wait to get any of these checks. Here's a reality check about the MSC checks right now. You want to cash checks when they're available. You don't want to pass them up. Passing up a check, leaving it on the table, not taking it. Why would you do that? Here's what I want you to know, is that these MSC checks from third stimulus are a lot better than the MSC checks from fourth stimulus. Why? They're a lot more money, and they're law right now. Imagine average viewer getting $45,000 from these third stimulus MSC checks, and you're sitting around saying, when is the IRS MSC check from fourth stimulus going to a vote? Because I really prefer $7,000 over $45,000. Excuse me? You prefer $7,000 over $45,000? That's just really strange. That's just really strange. Don't do that. If you do it, then give the rest of the viewers back the $39,000 you don't want, or whatever $45,000 versus 7 is very quickly on camera. I'm not doing my math that well this morning. If you don't want the $45,000, then just give it back to the rest of the viewers. Because guess what? That doesn't make any sense. Here's some tough love for you. You're going to see in just a second that the economic environment of this country is very, very uncertain. Things are going left and right at the same time. Good in one place, bad in one place. Unpredictable in one other place, very predictable in another place. You don't want to pass up checks. $100,000 of checks, $50,000, $60,000, $40,000. You want to pass it up saying, I want $6,000 of MSCs. It doesn't make any sense. Along the line, some people have trying to rewrite history as well. Don't do that. People try to say, I want to sit around and wait for an MSC and Build Back Better $2,000 a month for 12 months. No one ever said they were going to give you 12 months of $2,000 a month. It's $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter is what they represent they would do. That's $7,000 for 6 months. That's $7,000 here versus this at $24,000 with its much of it tracking at $45,000. It's important to remain on focus and grabbing checks when they're available. And that's why we're just getting started. You have your pen and paper ready? Yeah, let's continue, because guess what? There's a lot of other breaking news on checks starting right now. 6 stimulus, which is the Progressive Alliance of the White House, France, and Germany, got some major developing details overnight. What is 6 stimulus? It's the concept of raising debt spending domestically and then giving out citizens checks in their country because they cannot afford current levels of gasoline, wheat, and commodity prices. So let's go over the latest details on this front today. A lot of breaking news on six stimulus. Number one, you may have seen it on the live show last night. France's President Macron not reelected easily in last night's French presidential elections. He's important for six stimulus because it's him, the Chancellor of Germany, and Joe Biden. And Macron did not easily get reelected. Le Pen is sending Macron into a runoff election later this month. She is a right-wing candidate. So, wow, that is interesting. You want Macron to be reelected for that six stimulus. Next. The PPI number, CPI number will be released in the United States in the next 48 hours. But in China, it has now been released minutes ago. And the China number, the PPI, came in at 8.3%. They were looking at 7.9%. The CPI number came in at 1.5%. They're looking at 1.2%. What are these numbers? They are inflation numbers. Higher. It's saying that inflation is going higher. Now, why is this number higher than expected? Very simple. You know the answer. Because China is now getting larger, broader COVID restrictions tightening. Very big problems with Omicron subvariant in China, and now that's causing shutdown or tightening in certain towns. And that is bringing up inflation. Again, if you can't ship the products on the truck because the truck driver is out because of a shutdown. We did this in 2020. You know how this works. This is supply chain disruption. We're back to supply chain disruption now 2 years later because of the Omicron subvariant. So we're going to see our PPI and CPI number in the next 48 hours. Now, when we look at six stimulus, we have a lot to go over. One of the items that says six stimulus is that oil situation. The oil one is really interesting today. First, the price of oil dropped dramatically. That's good news. You can't afford the current price of gasoline at the pump. Good news. But why did it drop? Here comes the analysis. First, the price of international Brent crude, this is the international price of gasoline, fell 4.2% today to 4.31%, fell $4.31 to $98 a barrel. That's great news, folks. That we haven't seen $98 a barrel on this channel for day one of the Vladimir Putin invasion of Ukraine. That is a great number. Then the price of gasoline domestically, the West Texas crude price shredded 4.5%, fell 4.5% to $93 a barrel. Why did that number fall? Here's what I want you to know. Did it fall? One, because the President of the United States last week or the week before announced the release of 1 million barrels of strategic reserve gasoline that the United States has in storage, 1 million barrels per day for 6 months. No, it didn't fall because of that. Number two, did it fall because the IEA announced a major deal over the weekend? What is the IEA and what was the deal? The deal was that its member countries would release 120 million additional barrels of gasoline, of which 60 million barrels would come from the United States. And this is on top of the 180 million barrels the White House announced in that first part of this recording. No, that's not why the price of gasoline is going down. Why? Because if you look at those two prices, those two barrels, 120 million barrels for IEA, 180 million barrels for the United States, that is about 300 million barrels. Why is that not going to cut it? Because there is predicted to be a lot more oil at issue. Actually, that's not 300 million barrels a day. That's 300 million barrels over 6 months, or approximately 1.5 million barrels a day. It's 300 million barrels over 6 months, which is 1.5 million barrels a day. Why is that not going to work, and why is that not bringing down the price of gasoline? Because Russian oil counts for 3 million barrels a day. Yeah, so only halfway there. So why is oil going down? Good news? Not good news. The reason why oil is going down is because of China lockdown. China lockdown is why oil is going down. I'm saying China lockdown broadly. The whole country is not on lockdown. But the China COVID restrictions tightening, where people are having to stay home because of concerns of that Omicron subvariant, will result in people not driving their cars. There's a lot of cars in China, and now the cars are off the street because people are not driving around. That's why price of gasoline is going down. Not because of IEA, even though that's a good deal. Not because of what the White House did, which is good. It's because of China. So if China came out of lockdown or came out of complete COVID restrictions, would we still need a sixth stimulus? Absolutely, because we're losing 3 million barrels of gasoline from Vladimir Putin a day, and we're only picking up 1.5 million. We're not covering it. Commodities. The commodity market is getting worse. This is the price of wheat and grain. You cannot afford $7 a loaf of bread, and guess what? There's a new analyst report from JP Morgan Chase that says that raw materials could surge an additional 40%. That means that the price of bread could go even higher. My goodness, it continues to get worse by the minute. Let's look at that 7th stimulus for just a second. John King, who is the education secretary under Obama Biden, said in a new series of comments that Joe Biden can forgive student loan debt because we passed the forgiveness by executive order under Barack. The president by May 2nd will make the determination. Do nothing, extend the moratorium of repaying the debt, or forgive it. I think he'll either extend or forgive it. It's good news across the board. What about 5th stimulus? 5th stimulus needs a recon to do the marriage penalty removal and the asset cap removal. But swapping COLA to inflation right today only needs a phone call from Joe Biden. It's so simple. Make the call, Joe, to swap out that COLA for inflation, which will give you $200 more per month right now. If inflation is tracking 8%, it would look like it is. And then another $100 if it tracks at 4% later this year. Great news across the board. Which brings me to my final analysis for this morning's broadcast on a big day with a lot of breaking news. Where are we across the landscape? If you look at the landscape right today for April 11th, 2022, you have an economy where most of the data is misses, and yet there's some gleaming good data across the board. Inevitably, it's a very confusing economic environment. Number one, you have Jay Powell trying to raise interest rates to bring down inflation. Every day that passes, more analysts subscribe to what I've been saying for over a month. Jay Powell doesn't have the tools. He does not have the tools. He's going to raise those interest rates. He's going to cost it more to own a car on mortgage, on loan, or credit card debt, and yet he's not going to bring down inflation because it's caused by supply chain disruption, like that sofa cannot get out of the factory in China because on lockdown. Then it comes to the port of Los Angeles, it's backed up. It can't get shipped to the Midwest, it's locked up, it's slowed down. That supply chain disruption, that causes inflation, that causes CPI, that causes the PPI number to go up, and that he has no tools to bring it down. Raising inflation, raising interest rates won't solve inflation and could send you in a recession if it's not already. In my opinion, the U.S. economy already has two industries in recession: auto and home, the housing industry. And the rest of us are going into recession for 2 years starting next year. Next, we have the economic data, whether it's the job creation number or it's the GDP, the growth of the U.S. economy. Miss after miss after miss. And along the way, we have great unemployment numbers, the lowest 166,000 unemployment claims since the 1960s, the lowest number of reoccurring claims since the start of the pandemic, 1.78 million versus 18 million last year this week. So we have good data, but we have mostly bad data. What do I need to say to you? What I need to say to you is that this is not 2020. When you look and say, it's just all bad. It's just all bad left and right. And that clearly everything that is on the trajectory will happen. What I need to tell you is that you would be misguided. You would be inappropriately, inaccurately, unfinancially stabilized in not getting check A, check B, and check C. It makes no logical sense. It makes no logical sense for someone to sit back and say, I'll just wait for something later on. I won't get A and B and C. No. You're setting yourself up for big trouble. You want to get check A today because this is a huge check. You want to get check B today because it's a huge check. You want to get check C today because it's a massive check. People are trying to rewrite history. Congress was never going to give you 12 months of $2,000 checks. Congress was never going to give you $45,000 of MSCs. Third stimulus has given viewers of this channel $45,000 of MSCs. $150,000 of MSCs. Those checks are available today. They're automatic checks. Joe Biden sent them out. Once you get them approved, you get that check every month. Why would you leave those checks on the table to say, I want another check in the future? Don't do that because the future is changing so dramatically. Who would know that 60 days ago that China would go into another quasi-lockdown? Right today for April 11th, I can't tell you if that lockdown will be across the entire China Peninsula. I can't tell you if the United States will have COVID restrictions coming in back in. If that subvariant in the United States is going to surge and grow in number of cases. I can't tell you. I can't tell you what Jay Powell's doing with these interest rates because it makes no sense. It makes no sense, and that is why you can't leave money on the table. You cannot leave money on the table because it makes no sense. Don't leave money on the table that's available for you today. Get every check you can cash. Get every check you can cash right today and cash it. And then if new checks become alive, then you cash those checks as well. There's nothing wrong with trying to give every check you can get, but when there's a big check available at that particular time, you don't leave it behind. You get those checks right today. That's why I want you to become a member. Go right into the membership link right today under the video and become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Get that membership newsletter delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. That newsletter for Purple Hawks, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP features Check A, Check B, and Check C. As soon as Check A became law, it went right into the membership newsletter March 31st. As soon as B became law March 4th, it went right into the membership newsletter. And if another check becomes law, I'll feature it right into the membership newsletter. Don't sit around and ask, when is the vote? Vote on what? You don't need to vote for $80,000 of checks. It's law right now. Don't sit around and say, repurpose the $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds from the CR for a stimulus check. I see people still tweeting that. That makes no sense. That was done 4 weeks ago. The CR is gone. We're moving forward. The CR didn't repurpose any of that money. So time to move forward, and moving forward means if there's a check available, you grab the check. And there's a check available on the horizon, you get ready to pounce on the check. But pouncing on the check does not mean foregoing other available checks. Pouncing on the check means you learn about everything with the check. As soon as it becomes law, you get it. Pouncing a check does not mean, oh, there's 20 checks around here. I'm going to forget those checks. I'm going to move on and wait for the next check to come out around the horizon. No. That's not how you do it. Today, we're going to have a lot happening. We are back on air at 11 a.m., live on air. Then we have a brand new 3 o'clock show at Afternoons LA, then a brand new Evenings LA at prime time, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. A lot of news, and over the recordings today, you're going to see no less than 9 breaking financial news stories, no less than a half dozen stimulus packages, all paying out at the same time. It's a lot to digest, but we get through it all together, and we get all those incredible checks. And with that, the toast is toasted and the butter is buttering. Morning, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning on Mornings LA as well. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful day, and remember to pounce when checks become a law. Don't leave them on the table. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.